Hi, my name is Candice Smiley, and I'm so grateful that you're taking a look at Modere as a supplemental income option for you and your family. Modere, in my opinion, is an incredible opportunity for you to get in on the online gig economy and the affiliate marketing world that is just enjoying some serious buzz right now. Let me tell you what Modere is not. Modere is not your typical MLM. It is not a scam. It is not a pyramid. And it's not you having to bother your friends. Bonus, right? I'll tell you what it is though. It is an online social retail phenomenon. And what is social retail? Social retail is you using your social networks to drive retail sales. Bonus, the products, we've got over 100 products. Health and wellness, skincare, collagen sciences, products that people actually want and love to use in their day-to-day. Best part, the products are priced comparably. So they measure up with other products on the market. Now, no, you're not going to be peddling products to your friends. Forget what you think you know about the old MLM model way of doing things. This is very simple. Let me explain. For $39.99, you get access to the social retail or shiftingretail.com back office, which handles all of your accounting and all of your affiliate managing system. There's also tons of training there, as well as on two major Facebook groups, the Legacy Team and the Real Results 2.0. So products-based and team-based. Very, very cool. Now you actually can come in here and only spend $39.99 and make sure that you've got customer orders coming in. So you don't actually have to place an order to be qualified for commission, but orders do have to be moving through your affiliate referral system code. Let me explain. Our products have a point-based system, which makes sense considering that we're all over the world. So you're not limited in your network to one single space. You continue to do your social media the way you normally do. You post a referral link or, hey, I'm loving these products, or hey, just read about these new products, absolutely loving them. You post that referral link, people go to the referral link, and it looks a lot like Amazon or any other online store. There's no weird communications. It's just simply purchase the product. All of the products have all of the product profiles, so it's easy to see ingredient lists, calorie counts, different percentages. There's usually reviews of people, real people, using and loving the products. There's ingredients, and there's often the science that went into it and products that work really well with that one. So the upsell is actually done for you by the company. Any and all of your customers who get started earn you between 10 and 36% commissions. Now, if you choose not to purchase product because you can only afford the $39.99 and you really want to see this is as true as I say it is, you'll need to have at least 2 orders go through your business to equal 150 points of customer volume, new customer volume every single month. But you never have to buy any of the products if you don't want to. Pretty cool, right? As soon as you hit that quota of 150 PV points, point volume points, you are qualified for commissions and you'll be paid on the commissions of those 150 points. Bonus. Now, let's say you decide you want to buy something that costs, I don't know, $30 and you get a few points from that. That counts toward that volume. So you really have a lot of flexibility in how you want this to work for you. This app delivers to your phone every day, training and done for you posts for your social media, which means we are taking the guesswork out of you knowing how to build this affiliate gig. If you choose to join my team, I'm going to add you into a Facebook group where I coach the people that are working with me on how to maximize their affiliate and referral-based business. It is an exciting time to be online, and we're seeing people take their small-time social retail business into an incredible supplemental income for them. Caveat, it takes work, it takes time, and it takes energy, but you're already spending a lot of time on your social media platforms. You are already spending time doing the scroll, and we can show you how you can begin to allocate a small amount of time every single day to begin to create this referral-based, affiliate-based gig economy, which I'm really excited to show you. Anyway, I know you've got some questions. Some product videos will be sent to you. We can also send you some more videos in terms of the compensation plan in its fullness. Happy to show you how this whole thing works. If I've got your attention at all, please feel free to get back to the person who shared this video with you. All right. Well, welcome to another edition of our Create the Ripple podcast. My name is Candice Smiley, and here we talk about trusting the niggle and telling the truth. Now, my guests today, I actually have a couple on, which is exciting. You guys are my first couple. And so I'm very excited for this. And not only that, but I tend to talk a lot about women's issues and men's issues. And I have experts from both sides of the, that side of the street come together, right, and have these vibrant conversations. And today we get to have a conversation with a couple about some of these things. I'm stoked, like totally stoked. So without any further ado, I'm going to let Charisse and Ken introduce themselves to you, share a little bit about their bio, whatever's on their heart. And then I've got some questions for them and we'll go from there. So Charisse, Ken.
Thank you. Your first couple. That's so exciting.
Yep.
Aw. We've really been on this path together, Ken and I, working on this concept of being in love. So instead of just people saying like, I love you, we've been really working through this concept of being in love and what does that mean, and using those words instead of the, mundane, I love you. And maybe like last year, we started talking about this. Okay, I started talking about this book that we want to write together called Coffee Talks. And of course, like I've been coaching around sexuality, and we've been doing all this personal development together. And I was like, we really, really, really should write this book. And Ken was like, nope. He's like, nope. And then as he's kind of started his personal development journey, he was like, I really want to support you in this endeavor. And the cool thing about us doing all these things together is we get to spend more time together instead of me just running off and doing, taking over the world. It's like, no, we can do this magic together and travel and speak eventually and grow this. So we've been writing a book called Coffee Talks with the Batchelors, because that's us.
Yes.
And just like slowly writing. And we really want to start a podcast and just start getting the word out about, coffee in our world also means sex. So it's kind of those things we use in our relationship because we have kids.
Yeah.
And I mean, at this point, older teenage kids. We'll probably be a little embarrassed when the book comes out and they're like, oh my God, all those years, mom and dad, like, oh my God. And I mean, yep.
We talk about it quite often. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Like, honey, do you want a coffee? Or like, it's just such a great way.
That's so good.
Be playful and have fun. Yeah. Every day and be sexy and still be parents, So it's bridging that gap. And the book is just going to really be about all of our life, how we create that life of being in love and all the little sillies and Ken's humor, because that tends to come out in the book.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, quite a lot. Yeah. He always says, life is about stories. So I feel like it's going to be a little bit on that edge of, our story and our life and how we create it. So do you have anything else to add?
No, the life's about stories is something that I've been saying for years before I met Therese. So that's a big part of why I decided to jump on board with her. For this is, let's create a story that is real and share that with people too.
Awesome. She's kind of persuasive too. Like, there's a lot of energy there. So that's exciting.
With coffee several times.
Well, to be honest, when I saw your, the write-up as I'm preparing for today, and it's like Coffee Talks, I'm like, I thought we were talking about sex. Like that was sort of, all of the conversations beforehand. Because of course, Charisse, you and I had originally we reached out to you because I wanted to have conversations about that. And it's really here about, telling the truth, which I love that you guys are telling the truth about, relationships from that point. And I absolutely adore it. I'm in a relatively new relationship for me, by far, the best of my life. And that is not just who he is, but certainly that's a huge part of it. I finally met someone who is compatible. That's a big deal. I don't know why that was never on any of my lists, right? The opposites attract was something I think I had leaned toward. Sure, they attract, but compatibility is magical in a relationship in terms of, the ease of making it work, at least for me. But not just that, I had taken quite a bit of time to do some personal work. And so the person who showed up in this relationship was kind of like, look, I'm not 100% sure how to make a successful relationship work. I have great examples of that in my life. I have some great examples of what not to do in my life, including some of my own stories. To go to your story point, I actually want to write a book about the failed relationship. Failed be the wrong word. The other relationships I've had and the amazing things I've learned, right? I'm just like, they were amazing, right? But it certainly brought me to this point, and just how that when I met someone who had a very similar perspective, you're right, I don't know how to do it either. So rather than pretending to know that we have it figured out at all, even in the way we approach some interesting topics, because, we're co-parenting. I have a child from another relationship, and so that adds another layer of interesting. We're expecting a baby in October. His first, there's lots of things to do, and of course we're older, so we're sort of combining two very independent lives and being like, I don't know how to make this work. Do you have any idea how to make this work? And it really uses any of that frustration. So I love that, because I know that the two of you, came together a little bit later. So talk me through that. What does that, how does that come together for the two of you, and had an impact on, putting this together, this coffee talks, which is brilliant.
How did we come up with coffee talks?
How'd you come together? How did that work? I mean, I know Cherie's very independent, and obviously you're very independent. How'd you guys come together on that?
Yeah, it was a journey. We've been together for almost 7 years, and I only started my personal development journey 5 years ago. Of course, we've done the same work, some of the same work.
Yeah.
And Ken's just started the last year and a half. And it was a lot of ups and downs in really trying to figure out what win-win looks like in our life.
Yeah.
You understand the concept. It's not just like I'm going to give things up and or he's just going to get. It's like, no, how do we come to that win-win, and how do we co-parent? Because we each have 2 kids. We each came to the table with 2 kids, and we're lucky that our kids blended well and get along well. That doesn't always happen. But that's also, like you said, how you guys are so similar in some ways. Our parenting styles were very similar in ways, even though maybe the other sides, weren't always similar. Ours were very similar, and you
similar yet different.
Yeah, you kind of taught me to be a little tougher. I kind of taught him to soften a little.
Yep.
I think it's that win-win. How can we sort of teach each other things and learn? It's just my way, or because I've always been the independent, like you said, it's always been my way or the highway. So I've had to learn probably more than Ken.
Yeah, she's never had somebody in her life that did things. Hey, you don't need to do everything. That's I can do these things. You can do these things. We kind of have our roles where she didn't want to let go. Mowing the lawn would probably be a hard thing. That's what she used to do. I'm like, no, I can do the lawn. You don't have to do those.
Let me do the lawn. It's okay if I do the lawn. I understand. I have one of these too who's like, I am capable. I did live for 43 years without you. And I'm like, all right. I'll let you do that.
It's true. It's part of it. It's even the simple things. I remember sitting next to Ken, relatively new when we first met. I went to go reach way across him and grab my glass of water. And he's like, you could just ask me to get it for you. And I remember that so vividly. That was very shortly in church. And it was oh, that's weird, but okay. Can you get my water in here? Can you put it? It's so silly and so simple, but we've applied that same concept to so many things. Can I support you? How can you support me? I hate laundry. He's like, I love laundry. And sweet.
Whoa, I don't love laundry. I will do the laundry before I want to do a lot of other things. I like folding laundry. I find it relaxing.
And I think, how do you balance a new relationship with existing kids? Because normally you get into a new relationship, you have all this time together, and then and then you have kids. Whereas we sort of had to do all those things with kids, which is where Coffee Talks comes into play, because it's we had to create that relationship within already a family. Had to be and we didn't have to be, we chose to be.
Yes.
We chose to be in an active relationship, and you know, we chose that relationship, and we continue to do that and find different ways to do that even today. Like it takes a lot of effort to be like, okay, what, you know, what's going to spice it up this week and this month, and you know, maybe digging out all your trauma and your BS that we come into the picture with, because I mean, we came into it with, you know,
A lot of
stuff, like you do, right? Like you kind of said, to your past relationships. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's the magic, is that we continue to work on it, just running away, or instead of like shutting down. And I'm not saying that we don't ever do that. No relationship's perfect.
No, there's moments, everybody has them. It's just coming back together and recognizing them and talking through them is very important.
Yeah.
To find a balance of win-win, as Shreese always says to me, because I'm the stubborn one.
But even that, and you know, that you're able to admit that, I know that made a huge difference in my relationship, as I ran into somebody who like just owns his poop. Like I'm like, oh, I'm not the only one that has to own the poop all the time, right? It's awesome in that sense. I'm struck by your intention. You guys have a very clear joint intention to not just love the other person, but to be in love with the other person. And I know in a little write-up that, you know, we shared before we got started, that you really highlighted that. So talk me through that, like the difference between those two things, and sort of how that led into Coffee Talks and what that means to you.
I can start. She's a little bit better at explaining things a little bit.
2%.
For me, in love is you're working at it every day. You don't just wake up and you're there. No, like there's things you do that you need to make sure that yourself and your partner feels loved. So, I mean, just saying I love you just doesn't cut it anymore for us. So it's important to be in love and find the little things that keeps bringing you back to that person. As little as writing notes on our mirror. We just started writing things on our mirror that I'll write when I go to work, because I leave before she gets up, and I'll write little messages, and usually it would say at the end, I'm so in love with you. And she gets up, and from time to time she writes a message, and I see it when I get home or the next morning, whatever it may be. So that's my side. That's how I would explain it.
Yeah. So and you know, it's interesting. I found when we shifted from being just saying I love you to saying like I'm in love with you, that's an awkward thing to say. I don't know if you've ever tried it, and I didn't.
Going to. I was thinking about this. I'm like, what if I said I'm in love with you?
It's a little more awkward, and you have to find a way to say it almost like why. It's almost like I can't just say I'm in love with you, or I'm so in love with you, and it'll be like I'm so in love with you because, or you know, it just it brings the conscious awareness of how we speak and why we're speaking it and what we're saying and how we're actually feeling. So instead of just being like love you, you know, even when he says it now, we'll catch each other saying, going back to the old way, and I'm like, ooh, nope, because it's empty to me. There's it's just a habit instead of it being like, you know, consciously something nice that I'm saying, or something that I'm aware of that day, or whatever it is, the thing, you know. And for me, that in love is always finding new ways to be in love, always finding new reasons to be in love. Hear a lot of people say like they went through the honeymoon phase when they first started dating. And I've kind of done some reading and research around this, and they say it's about the first 2 to 4 years that is like the honeymoon phase. And I often use that phase. So I'll go back in my memories and I'll visualize being in love when you first fall in love, and it's so exciting and it's so exhilarating and sexy and like
got some hormones kicking in there too, so that helps, right? Biology's playing a role. Yeah,
exactly. And I'll think of it and I use that emotion in my today. So instead of it just being a memory, I actually like harness that feeling and I use it to still be in love. You know, like it's a magical feeling. If you've never tried it, try it sometime. Think back to a time you first met and your first kiss, or whatever the thing that you can kind of go, ooh, it gives me like little goosebumps, and harness that energy. Why can't we still have that? We can, we just have to create it.
I think there's some choice there. And I think that's a really powerful, powerful piece. I feel like that perhaps even before you guys got together, there's a piece about being these independent selves and then choosing to come together. And my dad used to explain this way, and obviously my parents are incredible examples. They've been together for a long time, like 41 years or something. I had to think about that. I'm like, wait, how old am I? When did they have me? And my dad often talks about, or I remember when I was 14, and I was asking him about love and being in love, right? When you're starting to realize not every couple stays in love and that sort of thing. And he talked about, love works best if you imagine it as two trees, and you can have a tree where one's leaning on the other one, and that's not necessarily a healthy relationship, or, the other one leaning that way, or both. But what if they were just there and they had their own roots, right? Their own interests, their own goals and dreams. And then when you get to the top of the tree, all the leaves are intertwined and it becomes this beautiful, canopy and this sort of thing. And I've often thought about that, right? That it's about first putting the roots down deep, figuring out who you are, what you're about, right? What's important, and then beginning to grow, because trees continue to grow. And that's something that Mark said to me. I think we were about 3 months into our relationship, and by then we had a pretty good idea that this relationship was different, both in the way we were communicating and handling things and that sort of thing. And he said, he'd always approached relationships from the standpoint of, your person's going to fix things, right? I find this person, they're going to fix it. And I mean, that's in pop culture, right? So it's there. Find your person, everything's sunshine, lollipops, and roses. And he said, in actuality, you find your person and the work continues. And I was like, yeah, you just find someone that's willing to hang out and be like, what's in that pack? Oh, you should unpack that. Should I get you a cup of coffee, right? Should I get you a cup of tea? Do you need to go for a walk after? I think, and we've sort of had that attitudes, about unpacking our stuff, right? You got your stuff, you got my stuff, but at least we're not unpacking it by ourselves anymore. But we're also not unpacking it for each other. And I think that's another, big thing. And I sense that from you guys. You both are independent people. You knew who you were, and you sort of kept come together with a lot of intention. And I know I've said that before, but how many times do people just get into a relationship without an intention? I mean, I saw this when I was a wedding planner. I was planning a ton of weddings, but no marriages. I was like, yo, this is forever, right? So obviously you guys had relationships beforehand. Was there like fears and stuff that kind of came in for you guys? Like in terms of how you built up to this coffee talks point? Was that sort of an intentional thing? Did you sort of stumble into that? Talk me through that.
Yeah, it was in the beginning. I was like, I'll date somebody, live with them, getting married again. No, I was like, there's no way I would ever get married again.
Mm-hmm.
And I met her in short, very, like, I would say within 6 months, there was just something different. Drawn to her, like, you want her in my life forever type thing. So to explain it would just be like, I just knew in my being that I could get married again. This one's the one. Should have.
She is pretty cool. So I agree.
So that would be like in the beginning. So I learned a lot in that. I was like, okay, and I just fell into, hey, this is who I am. This is who I'm gonna be. And grow together. Don't change me was a big thing. We can change together. So as, like you say, in your explanation with the trees, it's kind of like, yeah, we're going to grow and we're going to intertwine, and that's how we're going to continue to grow together, not individually. We still do, yet together is the big thing that was important to me.
Yeah, I'd agree. Except my beginning was a little different. It took me about 6 months to believe that he was real.
I feel you, sister.
No, I'm just waiting for the ball to drop. Like what's the thing? Where's the stuff? And I mean, we all have stuff.
Yeah.
I guess it just, there was no ball that dropped. There was no, it was, and it was similar for me. I don't know that I really ever wanted to get married again. I think we were both on the same page, and then it was just so magical. It was like, what's happening? And he was like always 2 steps ahead of me, and I was like, what is going on? This does not exist in my world. Right, which is awesome to, I've always had a big belief in relationship. Like I really did have the ultimate belief that I would find it. I guess until I find it, I probably found it, didn't totally believe, right? Because it took me the 6 months to be like, and we didn't start our personal development journey until a couple of years into our relationship. So, we dealt with a lot of chaotic trauma, past stuff in those 2 years. And did okay. Like we did okay. We managed to set, like when I look back from a perspective of what I know now, I'm like, okay, we did pretty good at like setting boundaries and attempting not to change each other, the little things. Maybe get rid of the dad genes. It's like, I can't, no.
There's nothing wrong with, I'm a dad.
I was like, no, you have a nice mom.
I can hear every guy who's listening to this. There's nothing wrong with dad genes. Yeah.
There's nothing. Jeez, I can't believe you're with them.
Like go down to the little things. Come on, it's the truth.
I still got my dad genes.
And you've taught me to like relax and take it easy, because I was like, go, type A, never sit, didn't watch TV, and he taught me to like chill, taught me to like ease off and relax and enjoy life. And I just feel like, the fears, there's always going to be fears there when you first are in relationships. And I feel like you said, it's the trees, it's the do the work in yourself and work at, if you don't understand the difference between codependent relationships and interdependent relationships or independent relationships, like you really want to get to that space where we aren't codependent. And I believe that we were at one point codependent in ways. We still work towards that interdependency and making sure that there isn't the lean, that it is the trees and the roots that are deep rooted, and it's supporting each other, like you said, unpacking through that process, and not forcefully, but just supporting. Like, how can I support you through this unpacking? How can I, what do you need from me? Yeah. Say.
I like that you brought that up, because that was one of my questions. And I mean, I've certainly done quite a bit of my own reading, feeling like, okay, I haven't got this relationship thing figured out. So, studying the codependent relationships, studying the interdependent relationships, and then being independent, because for a long time, like you, Charisse, I was very independent. And I can look at a lot of my relationships and I think I never bothered to unpack, right? I may have lived with the person, I may have been with them for years, but was I ever not independent? No. And then there were some where there was such a codependency, it wasn't healthy. And I know for a lot of people, let's define that for some of the listeners, who are listening in and saying, okay, I hear you. That's all fine and dandy. What are the differences and how might I begin to create something different? Let's maybe go.
When the independent person is the one that's like, I don't need you. I don't need your support. I can do it on my own. I got this. Okay. That's
my own water glass. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Like I came into the relationship as that independent human. I did everything. I had complete control of my life. So it's balancing and allowing someone in to help, to support, asking, how can I support you? Then you get the codependent side on the other edge, which is like, oh, I'm sad or I'm happy and I need you to make me feel better. And it's realistically learning how to, someone said this to me, a few years ago, a friend of mine, Susanna Salgado, she said, it's not the concept of giving from your cup, but it's the concept of giving from the overabundance, the overflow of your cup that lands on your saucer, so that I'm never giving from myself. I'm only giving from, so that means I have to keep my cup overflowing. I have to keep myself like happy and joyful at a constant, otherwise you feel drained. Codependent person would expect like my partner to do that for me. I'd be like, and I used to be a little bit like hug me, touch used to be I've actually changed my love language. Touch used to be my love language. I was like, sex and hugs and this to make me feel better. And what I've learned over time is that, when I fill my own cup, when I become like self-sufficient and making myself happy and individually, then I'm no longer codependent on him to do it for me. Right. So now I can be interdependent and ask for support where I need it and communicate that. But like, I'm not going to the extremes as much. And I'm not going to say never, because like when you've been independent or codependent, it takes a lot of time and effort and energy to get to that space of like that interdependency, that I'm happy, I'm full, you're happy, you're full. And now how do we help each other? If that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm like still learning how this all works to explain it. I'm not going to lie to you. It's just, to me, sometimes I get lost when she's talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Yeah,
They sound the same, just about. So
about.
there's little, you need to be independent, but work together is kind of.
Yes. Yeah. Independent for your own happiness.
Yes.
I think that's the magic. I don't need to be independent. I need to be independent for my own happiness and my own joy. So that I can bring that to the table instead of an empty cup and expecting, or I'm shopping to fill it, or I'm, expecting you to hug me or love me to fill it.
Yeah.
It's kind of I actually have been working on like an actual like visual.
Nice.
Because I feel like some people are visual and need to like see. So eventually when I finish that, then I'll launch it out to the world. You guys can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I heard one time, because the attitude out there is, relationships are 50-50. And I disagree. Some of the most powerful relationships I've seen have always told me, no, relationships are 100-100. And I think, the challenge for that, I mean, I love books like The Four Agreements, which is basically, always do your best, right? Never make assumptions and, be impeccable with your word, those sorts of things. And sometimes it means that your 100 is somebody else's 70. And that's okay, because the other person's still going 100 and you're going to always make it up. And that's always been something for me. And then, especially in this relationship, I'm able to say, hey, I'm not functioning in all cylinders today, which has been really freeing, to be completely honest, to not have to pretend to be something for someone. And for the first time, the relationship isn't draining. It's work, for sure. There's effort, time, and energy going into it. But like you, Charisse, I used to go looking to be fulfilled from my relationships. I'm a relationships-driven person. I like being around other people. And people say you're all about the attention. And to be honest, I was, because I was looking to be filled. I needed that constant fill. And the difference is that I think I've realized I wasn't looking for attention. I was actually seeking connection. And that connection piece is something that I've been exploring certainly the last year with Mark, but a little bit before that, of what does connection in a relationship look like? Because, I don't know about you, but, it's easy to have sex or be in love, but do those things always come together in a really powerful way? Where you can be, at your best in love or at your best in a person, and also experience incredible sexual freedoms. These are things that I was like, what does that look like? Like, what would that sound like? What would that, what kind of a person would I need to be to attract, the counterpart to that? And I think that maybe that leads into like, what made you guys willing to write the book and share this with other people? Like, let's talk me through that. So that transition you guys have gone through.
There's a lot of parts in the book that are like, ooh, should we put that in the book? Like, that's pretty, ooh. And I say that only from a space of like, our family and our children. Yeah. And at the same time are like, but I also want this for my family and my children and my friends, and feel like.
I think for me, it's some of the things we talk about, we'll talk about in the book would be things that are odd, yet other couples have went through them. And it's like, for someone to actually put it down and somebody like, you're not the only person that this has happened to. So people would read and be like, oh my, like somebody else had the same thing. And some of it just random weird stuff that, I mean, I come up with some weird stuff. So,
I think it's fun.
it's, yeah, and have fun with it and enjoy like this, the coffee life, the sex life, and create it in all aspects of anything. So there's things we say to each other that are, could be in public, but only we would know about it. And just let's, hey, I'm thinking of you right now. Right. So, or even just sitting in the bedroom and you see something, you're like, wow, we really should clean up this. Like, the headboard, like we need to clean the dust on the headboard.
Oh, like you can see
right? The fingerprints on the headboard, like what happened there the other night? Huh? Right? Geez, someone comes in here, why are there fingerprints there? It's like, well, that's stuff that happens and people don't clean there all the time, so maybe we should.
Yeah. I feel like the book is about exactly sharing from that place of vulnerability. And you know what, I've done a lot of talks on like sexuality and sex and being, sex positive and open-minded, and really digging into those old beliefs about sexuality and sex in our society and what sexuality means. Like it's not about sex, it's about the physical, the spiritual, the emotional. Like we've done some great sessions, like tantric sessions. We've had somebody come out to the house and do sessions like that for us, and learning about tantra, and really it's just the concept of like love, really loving everything, like not just infusing that into our own individual lives, but like as a couple together. So the book's about like how to create that. What are the silly things, and just understanding that this can look different for everybody, though we know that it's relatable in some way, like Ken said, right? And ideas and like fun. I even created these like little jars that are like 54 great dates or 365 sexy talks, so that you're creating consciousness. I think like the most important piece in our lives or our relationships is being awake, not going through life, in autopilot. It's that consciousness of being awake and having the conversations and trying new things and talking about them. So
I think too, at least something that's come up for me, perhaps for you guys, as you guys have been exploring these things, that within the safety and the confines is the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying, within that, the structure of the relationship, which creates a sense of both boundaries, right, that you are only letting in what you want to let in. It's a safe place where there's no taboo and you can talk about everything, and that's been really interesting. This is I should clear this with Mark first, but there were some things that I'd had some habits in my sex life before I came into this relationship. And I had been challenged by a feminine balance coach who was really helping me embrace my feminine side. I had the sexy figured out, but she was like, what about the receiving? Right? Like you said, with the glass of water, could you ask someone to get you a glass of water? I'm like, I can get it. She's like, sure, you could, but could you ask for it? And that led itself all the way into even my relationships. Like, could I ask for what maybe I had been craving that day? It's like, I don't know if I've ever been in a relationship where I would have felt that kind of a safety, right? To really explore some of these things. And so I think I love that you guys have just sort of said, hey, like, let's go clean the headboard. And the freedom that offers to you guys, do you find that you guys have some very specific, boundaries to protect your relationship and protect that safety and space? Like, how do you create that? Like, if I'm sitting there thinking, I'd love to have the relationship that you guys are doing, but I have no idea how to begin that conversation with my spouse or my partner. Do you have any advice for that person? Read a book?
I read a book. I feel like communication and being able to say, like, a big piece we've taken out of our personal development is being triggered, is that word, being triggered. So being triggered would mean like something is not making me feel, because I choose to feel, but something has triggered me to the point where I'm like having a panic attack or anxiety, or it's a trauma response to something that's happened to me in the past.
Mhm.
And we use that language a lot. So like in the bedroom, out of the bedroom, in every aspect of our relationship when things happen. And I've even heard like Ken say it to me. He's like, wow, that like what you said just triggered me. Like I'm no longer feeling sexy, or I am like, upset, or whatever the thing is. And I feel like that's been huge, is being able to converse, or if even something happened during. So I have this rule in my life that I've created where I actually won't have sex unless I'm fully prepared. Like unless my body is like on fire and ready to go. So like sometimes it just is. Sometimes it's when we are just ready at a Spurs moment. And sometimes it's like, like it's gonna take and it's communicating and opening so that either of us have that opportunity to get there. Like, and he'll just ask me like, what does it take, or what do you need? And I've gotten to the point where I can say like, you know what, right now I really need you to rub my face, or I need you to take my back, or I need you to like go to town and like get busy.
Go to town. Yeah, exactly. No, I follow.
Like I think it's just communication and being able to express what we need when we need to.
Well, yeah, I like, yeah, for me, I'm always like, I'm ready. I'll wake up I'm a guy, like middle of the night, early morning.
Let's go.
So for me, it was just
Yeah.
being open to her and understanding, hey, you know what, she's not out there yet. What can we do? What can we work on? We need to talk about it. Sometimes we don't end up maybe having sex, but we have a great conversation that was just as good type thing, right? So you're learning about each other and falling in love more because you're learning something about your partner. So it can be just as rewarding rather than actually the act of. So, and that's the biggest thing because I'm like, oh geez, I'll do something and she'll be like, nope. And everything's good, and I'll do something that triggered her during, and it's like, no, and I don't want to be like, she's more of a fighter. She's a fight instead of flight person. So I'm gonna be, oh my god, I'm gonna get hit. I didn't even do anything. What did I do? So it's communicating. It's communicating, and then we talk about it, and maybe we can come back to it. Maybe we can learn from it. So maybe next time we don't go that route, and we can tweak it and still have a very passionate time.
And no guilt. I think like getting rid of that, like I feel bad because I spoke up and now we're not having sex anymore, or I feel bad because I spoke up and now we're not, feeling like we're so in love because we've had this discussion and it's, gotten deep or heated, or, whatever the case. Like it's just being able to communicate and do, like you said earlier, Candice, like in a safe place. Right? I'm not judged because I halfway through, sex was like, stop, like I can't, no. And I think getting to a space where we can both do that. And for me, as a woman who's been raised with a very different mentality around sex, it's being able to just honor my own body and my own self and what I need and speak it, like that's huge. And you kind of said, you talked about like I talk a lot about like pleasure practices, personal pleasure practices. So having your own individual pleasure practices, and then, being able to come together. And for me, that's even still a struggle. It's still being like come to that space. That's one of the things I work on. And I think we all have things. Like for me, maybe hard for you, and vice versa, and same within a relationship.
Well, I know, and I think too that we have to respect some shifting and changing, especially like the way my feminine balance coach described it is, men are like very much like this, right? It's like on, off, let's go, no, right? It's a different energy. And as women, we can go like this, right? But whether it's our cycles or whether it's, that kind of thing. And sort of understanding that, I was like, oh, well, that gave me a lot of freedom to begin to think about showing up and saying, yes, I'd like to be intimate with you. However, my brain is still on work mode, which means I'm still in my masculine energy. I need to shift into my feminine. What do I need to get there? Don't know. Give me a minute. And that's been really powerful, which is not something I would have necessarily said, previous to now. And then being honest, say, I think I need this. And how fun it is to have a partner, whether it's like, I think I just need to sit and have a cup of coffee. Can we do like literally a cup of coffee or a cup of tea? And how fun that is to be, with the pressure removed. Because like you, Charisse, I was raised very differently, right? Um, it was very much take care of your man whenever he needs. And I mean, that worked for some, but for me, it really meant that if I wasn't feeling it, it means I just did it just because, rather than showing up and saying, I want to, right?
Yeah.
Rather than I want to, but. And especially right now, right? Because obviously I'm expecting a baby in October, and that has changed my hormones, which has
Yes.
brought on some new challenges physically. And it's been great to be in a relationship to say yes or yes, but I need this first, or yes, can you give me 10 minutes?
That's magic.
And to have a partner that goes, yeah, sure, right? Like you can, right? Just yes. And to respect that in my partner and honor that without feeling like I need to now perform. And that was something I really had to let go of, because I mean, if you look at a lot of the images of women in our culture, it's all about performing. It's all about looking a certain way and being a certain way. And heaven forbid we get old, something, saggy. And it's powerful that what I'm hearing from you guys is that really coming together from a raw, authentic place.
Yeah.
So you're writing this book. When's this book going to be out so that people can read? Because I know people will be like, where do I get the book?
I know. I keep bugging, like, we gotta get writing more. It's been such a crazy summer, though. We're working on it, and hopefully starting our own podcast to kind of
Exciting.
a bit and have these sexy talks and get deeper and really dig into, all of the corners of sex and sexuality. I don't know, it's been my obsession for a few years.
Mhm.
I don't know if you ever took the sexuality course through Integrity. And that was really what launched and started all this stuff for me. So
Cool.
it really shifted and grew. And now it's just like, oh man, like, yes, I was like, let's talk about sex, baby. I was like, that's going to be our song. That's going to be our theme song. Cause it's so good.
Do it.
Right?
Do it.
Like, it's like, oh my God. No.
Like, no.
It is.
Like, there's got to be a better song.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect. You're just going to talk about all the little nitty gritties and the fun stuff.
I think it's important. One of the reasons why, the podcast is called Trust the Niggle and Tell the Truth is the truth is not necessarily talking to anybody else but yourself. Because if we can start to be honest with ourselves, that's the big piece. And the niggle is that annoying little thing, like you were saying, you might be triggered and you have the courage to say, I need to stop. And, for Ken, you don't take that personally, which is huge, right? To be able to say, whoa, what's going on? So it becomes a shared experience rather than, a mutual rush to, or mutual or independent, mutually shared rush to orgasm or pleasure, or whatever that is. You guys are daring to really take this to a whole nother level. And I think that that's reflected probably in a lot of areas of your lives. You guys are willing to really come together and not just, say I love you, but you're willing to be in love. And it's not just like, and, we exclude this or, and we exclude that. So anyway, we're certainly coming to, we could dive into this, and I'm going to have you guys on as encore.
We could talk about,
oh my God, yes. We're coming back, and I like to be irreverent on this podcast. I'll put, not suitable for work, right? Don't listen while the kids are present. Because I like to talk about things that make people go, huh? Because I think if we can do that, and if, one man or one woman hears this and then goes to their partner and go, I'd like more out of our sex life. I'd like more out of our love life. I'd like more out of our connection. I'd like to connect more with you. And I don't have a clue how. That is going to be a conversation that will change the course of the relationship. And I'm, passionate about that. But as we, kind of come to the end of this particular episode, so encore to come, is there anything else you guys want to add or share, or something that we didn't cover that's important and you guys would love to share? I'd certainly love to share that with the audience. I know they're going to be wanting more.
Right. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I kept hearing sex magic. I've been kind of learning about this, like, sex sex magic, and it's all about like a manifestation and like climaxing together and edging.
It works. It totally
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
We can talk afterwards. Yes, totally. It totally works.
So like that's a conversation for another day, but I feel like
Yes.
there's just so many little, nuggets and pieces to kind of even dig deeper. And that was kind of the fun thing of the book, is like, here's all these fun, and then how can we just have more conversations about these pieces and different things and
Shame
explore.
guilt, which I love, right? Like this is a shame-free zone. We can talk about it and talk about it really freely and bravely, which I totally love.
It's all about
Yeah.
learning and growing, and the concept that we never reach a certain place. We're never going to get to this like aha magic place. No, it's a constant like, what's our next level up? Like,
Mhm.
what's the next thing that we're doing? What do we want to learn next? Where do we want to grow? And how do we want to push ourselves? Like doing this interview or starting our own podcast or like talking on a stage together, because he was
Yeah.
like,
But
oh,
still, it's
and now he's like, I feel like that would be
Yeah.
easier he feels like it would be easier for him than for me. And I'm like, probably. And that's the point. Like, how can we stretch and grow and keep pushing, like keep evolving, keep helping create more of these power couples in the world, because that there's so much magic in it. There's so much magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking a lot about that. One of the things that was really big for me when my marriage ended, and I went to my parents specifically and shared with them, that this was a transition I was going through in the relationship, obviously, so co-parenting, but it was a shift and change. And I said to them, I said, I'd love for you guys to step up and be a role model for her of what a healthy relationship can look like. And they're not perfect, right? But that was really important to me. And they really owned that. They've done a lot of things together. They've taken that very seriously. And I really felt like for me, my daughter is 6 now, that it was really important that she saw not only her mother love herself and make powerful choices, so when the conversation come up, right, why are you not with daddy? I didn't shy away from that. I told the truth in a way that I felt was appropriate for her age. It just basically said, that it was here, right? And a very personal, powerful decision, because I think a lot of times not only have we hidden, sex behind closed doors and made it taboo and then therefore dirty and all those other things, but save it for the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, of course. But more than that, we've also hidden things like big emotions. So anger, the real raw stuff. And so I feel like what you guys are talking about opens conversations in relationships that allows for a depth, not just for the two of you as people, but also as parents. Because I know that certainly now Inara is watching a very vibrant relationship, and there's been a big instance in how she's now approaching the world, and how we deal with that, right? Mommy has emotions, mommy's also in love, right?
Yeah. And teaching them, we can have those hard discussions. And one of our kids often says like, oh, you guys fight a lot. And I'm like, we don't fight. Actually, very rarely do we fight, but we do have like real discussions.
Mhm.
Sometimes they get a little like intense when it's your opinion and my opinion. And I feel like that's important for them to be able to see you, diffuse those and
Yes.
have those discussions and come out on the other side of those discussions. That's
Mhm.
helpful. Not just hide behind a closed door and nobody ever talks, or like that's just not reality.
Mhm.
Or not as reality should be, right?
Well, it doesn't actually prepare them. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it said, how should parents um you know parent in the world, right? Do they shelter, or do they actually parent in a way that prepares their children for what they're going to face? And I feel like, especially now, because our children are certainly bombarded by lots of different relationships and sex opportunities. And I mean, we dive into, porn, it's everywhere, that we have to be, I think, even more so open about positive, loving, caring, vibrant sex lives and the potential of that, and to really have that narrative and conversation, right? So I love what you guys are doing, not just from a couple standpoint, because Lord knows we don't know how to have that conversation, but also for the next generation, right?
Yeah.
There's an importance that you guys are having these conversations, so there is a healthy perspective on it.
It's huge. It's important. We see it in our own kids already.
Mm.
It's just like, wow, they're coming with all the hard conversations and the hard topics. And boy, some of the things they're asking us, I'm like, oh man, I learned that at 30 and you're 15. Like, okay, let's sit down and talk about, woo, let's, and half of our kids are prude and half of our kids are open, but it's cool that they're all around.
Yep.
Listening to these conversations and, going out into the world. They're not going to be shocked. They're not going to be aware.
Well, and it sounds like you guys really work on things like that make a relationship healthy, like boundaries, right?
Yes.
You know where they are for you. And, boundaries are not something that we're necessarily taught unless we see it in our immediate home life. And so to see you guys positively set boundaries means that when somebody steps out of there, they'll be like, wait a minute, that's not how it is for mom and dad. That's not how it looks like for them. And you guys are open enough about it, they'll come and talk to you about it. That's huge for somebody who was sexually assaulted at 17. That kind of openness would have been a game changer for me.
Right.
Feels like, this doesn't feel right? Like I triggered pause, that kind of stuff. So huge work that you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We love it. As we open and grow and get more comfortable with the, it's good. It's all
having you guys back on. So, just so you know, that's going to be a thing. For many reasons. Number one, obviously, Charisse, you and I share a lot of the same passion for sexuality and having relationships with ourselves first and foremost, and then the impact that's had both on my career and that sort of thing, but also on creating these powerful relationships with our partners, right? Like that's huge. So I just loved it when you were like, I want to come on with Ken. I was like, yes,
right.
That sounds like a great plan. And then hearing, that the book, I want to have you guys back on when you do finish that book. I want to talk about, more of what you've heard. I want to be a part of that. We'll make sure that any links in terms of them getting in touch with you will be in the show notes already, so people can begin to reach out, follow along, and all that kind of good stuff. But anything else you want to leave our listeners with, or can we wrap this up and say, hey, watch out for the encore. I'm definitely having these two back on for more.
Right.
Mark to come on with me. That'd be really entertaining.
That would be fun. And I feel like I love leaving people with a challenge. Like go do something out of your comfort zone. Go have a conversation. Go ask for something new. I love to challenge people instead of just like, oh, bye. I'm like, no, go do the thing. Like go actively, seek it out. Try some tantra. Or have that great conversation. Like you can even just like Google like the 10 best conversations to have with your partner. Like, yeah, do something and make a date night of it. Make a conscious effort to do it, and maybe if it's a reminder in your phone or a note on the window, like whatever the thing is you have to do, just, get busy, ask the questions, dig in. Yeah. Cool. And thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome, fun, a little less scary, I think. I feel like his energy's calm now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's totally mellowed. Yeah, no, it's all good. This is creating space for these conversations, I think, is really important. And I like having conversations that make people go, that's very interesting. I'm like, I know. And you listened to the whole thing, didn't you? That's awesome. So thank you so much for being guests with me today. I really appreciated sharing space with the two of you. Such a positive conversation, and hopefully gives a lot of people hope, regardless of where they are in their relationship status or relationship with their partners, that you really can create something amazing, but it does take attention, it does take time, it does take work, maybe reaching out to the network at large to share what they know, to add to your, skill set. I think there's something about being a skilled lover. It does take time, effort, and energy for sure.
I love it.
All right. And for the rest of you, if you got some value out of this, like, share, comment, share, subscribe, go drop some love on our Facebook pages. Let us know that what we're doing matters to you. It does matter a whole lot to us that what we're putting out there in terms of content is helping you to live your very best life. And thank you so much for listening today. We will catch you all on the flip side. Hey, I wanted to talk to you a minute today about the gig economy. What is the gig economy? It's basically the side hustle, side income economy that's become so popular today and age.
I hope you're still listening to this ad because it's really important for me. I was in the network marketing industry for over 13 years and I had an incredible experience. I learned a ton of things, but there were many things about the industry of network marketing that I really didn't love. One of which was the overinflated products. Number two was the fact that I had to build a team or balance those things that we would call legs, the whole pyramid thing. I really was done with that. About a year ago, I was introduced to a social retail company. Social retail simply means that we are using our social media platforms, which are free, by the way, to promote products and services that we love. The affiliate marketing is booming. Not even going to lie. It's an incredible place to be in. And I am speaking to the woman who's in her 30s or maybe in her 40s, and she'd like to create that extra income. She'd like to create income on her own time. And she'd like to do it in a company that isn't all about the hype, that has some real products that she can get behind, and would work with somebody who wants to teach her how to do that. If that's you, then I would really love it if you would reach out to me. Feel free to comment below or leave me an email. Scan the code. I'm sure there's a code somewhere if you're watching on my YouTube channel, but I would love to get in touch with you. And this is why. The company that I'm with, modere.com or modere.ca, depending on where you're at, check out shiftingretail.com. So that's shiftingretail.com. I want you specifically to go check out the values of this company and what their mission is. That was really important for me. I got flown down to the corporate offices and I had a chance to meet with the corporate crew and meet with the visionaries that are really driving the company forward. And what I discovered is this. The first thing they said to me was, Candice, when people come here from a network marketing company, they start making money. Now, disclaimer, this is work. This is going to take work. This is going to take energy, effort, time, and skill. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. Those don't exist, at least not ones that I would like to put my name behind. However, this company pays us 10 to 36% on commissions of whatever we've moved within our business. And we get paid daily. We get paid up to twice daily. Biggest, coolest thing about this, if I move product, I get paid on the product, period. No balancing legs, no having to do any of that stuff. If product moves because of a referral that I did, whether it was through my social media, through a swipe up influencer, or a person-to-person conversation, doesn't matter. I'm going to get paid on it. And for me, being paid on the work and the effort that I do is important. So if this is something that's intriguing to you, I invite you to head over to shiftingretail.com or head over to Smiley, that's CSMILEY.shiftingretail.com, and you'll be able to join my team directly. If you've got some more questions, please comment below or find a way to contact me and get in touch, because I would love to share with you how we're building this and how affiliate marketing is the place for you to be. And trust me, once I show you how to do it with this company, I will show you the many companies, brick and mortar stores, you name it, sole proprietors, entrepreneurs who have an affiliate-based idea. And once you can do it with one company, you can do it with any of them. So I'm excited to teach you that. In fact, so excited, we're going to give you 120 days of done-for-you posts or text that will help you so that you don't have to worry about what to post or when to post or how to post it. We're going to give all of that to you. You just got to show up with drive, determination, and some cash flow to get you started. $39.99 gets you your affiliate link and code and gets ready to start. Maybe you want to try some product too. It's awesome. But up to 2 customer orders actually qualifies you for commission. So you don't even have to place an order, provided you've got customer orders that are moving in your business. Brand new customer orders qualify you for commissions every month. Super cool. Definitely an opportunity for somebody who wants to come in, put some effort in and work with integrity, work with honesty, but really begin to use the social media time that right now is really just wasted time and turn that into cash flow. Awesome. Hope you have a wonderful day and keep enjoying our show.